Hello, this is going to be a video tutorial on Unit 1, Activity 1. And so the first thing I'd like to point out is when you enter an activity, you can scan through the activity on the original screen that's presented to you, or you can click this button right up here and you can expand the screen and view the activity on the whole computer screen here. And so that should look a little bit better. Now, the second point I want to make about any of the activities that you're going to do this semester is that they will have three different parts. They'll have a minds on, an action, and a consolidation section. And so the minds on section is going to be somewhat of an introduction. It's usually going to have a video or some graphic text, something to grab your attention and introduce the theme of the lesson. Whereas the action section is usually going to present the specific concepts and the ideas that you're going to need to know to complete the assignments in the activity. Consider the action section like the lesson of the activity. There will, though, occasionally be small assignments inside the action section as well. And then the consolidation section is at the end of every activity, and it will involve some sort of final assignment in order to complete the activity. Okay? So if we go back to the top of this first activity and quickly do a run through here, you'll see how each section kind of works. So to start with, in the minds on, in the introduction, we have a video that introduces the idea of home. Okay? And so when you're watching this video, pay particular attention to its overall message and the supporting details and key points that they use to back up that message. They're going to try to explain to you a concept of home and how we can look at our home. Okay? We're going to have to come back to this video twice in this activity, so it's important that you pay attention and that you understand its message. All right? So after we have that little intro, we get into again, sort of the lesson part of the activity, and we're going to focus on reading and writing in this activity. That is the foundation of the entire course. The purpose of the literacy course is to prove that you are able to read and write at a high school level, and so we're going to do a lot of reading and writing practice. And so to start with, you're going to take a survey here, actually two quick surveys. And they're just going to ask you to think about what you read and write on a daily basis. And so this isn't being graded. You don't have to worry about saving your results here. This is just to get you thinking. Okay, so you go through the first question in the survey. What types of reading do you do? And so you'll see, for example, news websites. So do you never, rarely, occasionally, regularly, or always read news websites? And then you're just going to go through all the different types of reading that we do. So a lot of different website reading and social media types of reading. And then if you go down further here, we'll get into more traditional types of reading like newspapers and novels. But just go through each one and just check the box that best fits you and your personal reading habits. Okay? And then we'll get down to the second question, which is about your writing. So just go through the different types of writing, so lists, notes, texting, instant messages, and which of these do you do more often on a regular basis? And just, again, check the appropriate box. When you get to the end, just hit Submit Survey. You don't have to do anything else. Again, it's just to get you personally thinking about the reading and writing that you do. Okay, because you're going to have to write about your own reading and writing later in this activity. All right, so if we close that survey and we go back to Unit 1, Activity 1, we'll continue on here, and you'll have to write your first portfolio entry of the semester. And I should spend a little bit of time here explaining what I mean by portfolio entries. So throughout the semester, you will complete a number of portfolio entries. We'll probably write about 8 of them. And you will submit them all at the end of the semester in one package, and they'll be worth 10% of your final grade. So your portfolio entries will count as part of your final exam grade. Okay? So you can use Microsoft Word, Google Docs, or any other word processing program that you like to use to type out your portfolio entries, and then just save them to your computer or save them to your Google Drive if you're using Google Docs, and then just keep them there until the ending of the semester when you'll submit them all at once. And the easiest way to do this is just to title each portfolio entry by its number. So portfolio entry number 1 is the one that we're going to do today. And in this portfolio entry, it asks you to focus on how you can improve your reading and writing skills by thinking about your own reading and writing strengths and weaknesses. So I'm going to ask you to answer these 3 questions. So the easiest way to do this is probably to copy these, and you could paste them into a Microsoft Word document if you want, or you could paste them into a Google Doc if you want. So if I'm using Google Docs here, I could paste them. And I'm going to paste them without formatting because I don't want to get the yellow background and the details from the website mixed into my Google Doc here. So I'll paste them without formatting. And then I've got my 3 questions, and I just want to title this Portfolio Entry Number 1. And I'll hold that as my title. And I can just call the document Portfolio. Okay. And then if you take a look at the instructions here, it's going to ask you to answer the questions in at least 3 sentences each. So all you're going to do is you're going to answer these questions. So one of my reading strengths is, and answer the question. You can add a few sentences if you like here explaining. And then one of my reading weaknesses is, and then again explain. Okay? And then again continue on and just answer one of your strengths and weaknesses when writing, and then answer this question here, identifying a goal that you have for improving your reading and writing. Okay? So you're just going to answer each of those questions, hopefully in at least 3 or 4 sentences each, okay? And then just save it. And so in Google Docs, it automatically saves for you, right? And then just keep this in your Google Drive, or if you're using a Microsoft document, keep it on your computer. And then when we do portfolio entry number 2, you can just go down and you can type portfolio entry number 2, and you can just continue on here and answer whatever I ask you in portfolio entry number 2. And at the ending of the semester, you'll have one document with probably 8 different entries, and you'll hand it all in at one time with your final exam. Okay? So that's how we're going to do our portfolio entries. So if we continue on, once you've done the portfolio entry, you're going to get a little explanation on how to take notes. So they're going to discuss note-taking. And when we're talking about taking notes, we're not talking about writing full, detailed sentences. We're talking about writing in point form. And so there's going to be a number of times this semester when you're going through the activities and they're teaching you specific concepts where you're going to want to take notes in order to be able to go back to your notes and study them later, say for a midterm test or a final exam. And so to kind of practice our note-taking and to kind of prepare us for our first big assignment at the ending of this activity here, they're going to ask you to return to the home video at the beginning of the activity and watch it again and write down or type out notes to help you better organize your thoughts and better understand the video. And they're specifically going to ask you to try to identify the main idea and supporting details of the video. So we would go back, to the home video here that was at the beginning of the lesson or the beginning of the activity. We would rewatch it and we would take notes. And when I ask you to take notes, you can write them on paper if you prefer. You could type them out in a Google Doc or a Microsoft Word document if you like. I'm never going to ask you to submit your notes, but if I'm telling you to take notes on something, it's because it's going to be important, and it'll come back either on a test or in an assignment, and so you'll need these notes. Okay? So once you've taken notes on the home video, we can go down to the final part of the activity, and that's going to introduce the idea of the information paragraph. And there's going to be a graphic text here, an interactive graphic text. We can click the X here, and we can see an example of an information paragraph here. And we can click on the title here, and it'll show us the title of the information paragraph. We can click on topic sentence, and it'll show us the topic sentence. So these are all different parts of a standard information paragraph that you're going to need to know, because you're going to have to write me 3 different information paragraphs in Unit 1, and so you're going to need to know all of the different parts. So you might want to take notes here as you go through from title to concluding sentence, hopefully understanding all of the different parts that make up an information paragraph. And once you feel comfortable with an information paragraph, you can move down to the consolidation, the final section of the activity, which is going to ask you to write me an information paragraph. So it's going to say, use the notes you took earlier in this activity to write an information paragraph on the home video. You may want to rewatch the video one more time before writing your paragraph. The purpose of this information paragraph is to inform an interested reader about the message, the main idea of the video. Your paragraph should be 8 to 10 sentences and follow proper information paragraph structure. Before submitting your paragraph, you can check this little checklist here to make sure that you're including everything that you need to include. And then once you've completed your paragraph, and again, you can type your paragraph out in a Microsoft Word document. You could type your paragraph out in a Google Doc. And so if I open a new Google Doc here, I could call this information paragraph draft number 1, which is the title, and then I can use that as my title here. What you could also do is when you title assignments that you do, you could put in the unit and the activity. So I could put U1, Unit 1, Activity 1 here. So then when you go back in your Google Drive or when you go back on your computer to find particular assignments that you've completed, you can always identify them by the unit and the activity here. But I would write out my paragraph, my 8 to 10 sentence paragraph, identifying the main idea and supporting details in the home video. And then I would submit this paragraph to what we call a Dropbox. And so if we go back to the activity here, it'll say at the bottom here, once you have completed your paragraph, submit it to the Dropbox by clicking on the Submit Your Work button, which is right here. So if I click this button, it'll take me inside a Dropbox. And it'll tell me the instructions here. Submit your information paragraph draft number 1 on the home video. And so what I would do is I would add a file. And since I did it as a Google Doc, I would go to my Google Drive. And I would actually, it's the last thing I did, so it's right on top here, U1A1 information paragraph. And I would click there, and I would click Add. And it would add here. The comments, you do not have to write anything in the comments here, but if you want to send a comment to your teacher, you can put it right here if you like. And then I would hit Submit. And it will tell me that the assignment was submitted. So submitted successfully, and then I would hit Done. And then I will get a little email up here telling me that I submitted it. And it will show me in the assignments here in the drop boxes that I've submitted 1 information paragraph here. And when I provide feedback on that paragraph, you'll see it under evaluation right here, and you'll be able to click and read my feedback. And you'll notice that that's it, that you can't go any further. That's the ending of Activity 1. What we'll do in Unit 1 is we will write 3 different information paragraph drafts, and then you'll choose one of them at the ending of the unit to polish, to make it better, and submit it as your final information paragraph. So make sure you read my feedback on your drafts.